We can't hear you. Are you still muted?
Third,
That work?
to allow staff time
You
to
hear now?
provide administrative.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Spread.
We're back.
Okay. Public comment. I'm not gonna read it tonight. Everybody knows the spiel. School board is good with public comment. We like your input. Please be nice to each other. Is there anybody that has public comment tonight? Nobody. Okay.
Well, this is good though. Josh is here and there too. How you doing?
Sounds like Lee is
in
the future.
All right.
Something, I don't know what, but apparently I needed to come back.
That motion for approval of the minutes, please.
I move to approve the minutes of the school board meeting November 22nd, 2022, bearing any errors or omissions.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? 5-0. Motion for the payroll, please, Kevin.
Which one? Little or big? I move to direct the superintendent of schools to authorize payment by the town treasurer, to each body listed herein. The sum set against each name contained in the school payroll warrant number 23-12 in the amount of $137,140.01. And number 23-12D in the amount of $39,591.08 on December 8th, 2022.
Second.
Thank you. Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the payroll warrant? Oh,
No.
no. Sorry. All in favor? 5-0. Motion, oh, no, sorry. First reading.
No.
Oh, sorry, payroll warrant. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay,
A motion,
Mr.
for the payroll
Chairman,
warrant.
I make a motion to direct the superintendent of schools to authorize payment by the town treasurer to each party listed herein, the sum set against each name contained in school payable warrant number SA 23-9 student accounts in the amount of $5,392.85. Scholarships number 23-2 in the amount of $15,698.45. And number 23-22 in the amount of $154,844.88 on December 8th, 2028.
Second.
22.
Oh, 22.
Yeah, go on to the future.
Second.
Second. Is there any discussion on the payroll warrant? Seeing none, all in favor? 5-0. Now for the first reading of policies, policy committee.
Second, next page, halfway down.
I make a motion to approve the first reading of the school board policies.
Second.
Okay, so motion. Kevin. No, yeah, Kevin. Second. Is there any discussion about the policies? You want to do some explaining?
Just a little.
Okay, thank you.
What I wanted to say is that we did have our first meeting with the for the policy board. Since the new folks have been on and our organizations have come into having committees. And I think we were very efficient.
Yeah.
We went through, we had plenty of time to review the policies at home. to think about them, compare them. Kama had prepared for us the MSMA standard vetted policy. So there isn't anything in front of you that wasn't vetted by MSMA. And then if there was something that we wanted to lean towards Millinocket's needs, then that would be in there. But honestly, there was very little. There is a couple of places where we had choices on if we wanted business days or calendar days, things like that. And we actually had a robust conversation between the three of us to make sure that we were looking at the needs of students or employees when we were talking about those things. So it was brought up whether or not days would be affected on if it was a long weekend or summertime or vacations. And so I think, considering this was our first meeting and we sat there and went through everything, I think that the team did a very good job. And again, I want to
Yeah.
assure you that MSMA vetted all of the policies that we have in front of you.
Kevin,
I want to thank you for putting what the vote was 3-0 in committee. Because that's always been a concern.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, because I,
Yeah.
before, that's one something I always ask,
Yeah,
and if it comes out 1-1, it didn't pass,
yeah.
so,
I
if they
thought
don't-
that was important and we actually
Yeah.
did that for all of them.
yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, yep, good, good. I'm glad that was a value.
okay, so we had the motion on the policies, what? Well, does that take in these down here too?
Yes,
all.
Yeah, that's what the actual motion.
I was gonna say, we just did board discussions
Yeah.
and now it's a vote.
No. No. vote.
Yeah, we
Yes,
vote,
yeah,
we vote, no, we have that.
That was first reading.
Yeah, she sent an email that you have to vote on first and
Yep.
second.
To show that we approved it, we always look regions. That's why you kind of threw.
You never used to either, so
No, no,
it's
no.
something we're supposed to be doing, I guess.
So I did reach out to Charlotte Bates at
Yeah.
MSNA, you know, yeah. And I told her that it was that we had this policy first read, and it was unusual for me to not have the vote on it. So I asked her, you know, like, have things changed, basically? And she said they actually have. So we are supposed to do a vote for the first read, and then we are supposed to do a vote for the second read as well, which includes adoption at the second read. And because last time we didn't vote, she said we could vote on this like once for a first read and then secondly for an adoption, because it was presented to the board already. So we can capture that.
Years ago, you remember we used to have to read all the policies,
We did.
word for word. For
That can still be required.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All you have to do is have.
Board member wants it, yeah.
and I told Kevin that he was
That's
elected.
the first question I had. I said, well, I'm policy 17 pages long. Do we have to read this? Well, I said, I didn't even.
Okay. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Four.
I have not reviewed them, I'll be honest with you, I haven't had time to get to my computer to. So that's the only reason.
Do good hours of reading that, Tom.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Make sure.
And
everything-
I could abstain probably, that's what I did last time. But I didn't have a chance to do it.
That's true.
Okay. Motion for the policy on the credit card, please. Kevin, Katie?
I move to adopt school board policy DC use of credit cards.
Second,
Any discussion on? This is the second reading on the school credit card. Is there any discussion on that? Any questions?
is
Yeah.
there anything new about that, or is it just this,
It's.
just, is
It's
this a
a-
new thing we're doing, or has it been done before, we're just?
No,
bringing it back up?
actually, that's a great question. Actually, the school system didn't have a policy on it, but did have a credit card.
Oh, gotcha.
So being new here, and I was asked to like sign things and look at it, and I'm like,
Hmm.
so we have a policy, it's been vetted. And it is actually, I shared it with the town, who also is adopting the policy. So it's the right way to go.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions? Seeing none, all in favor? 5-0. Okay, a motion to see if the school board will approve holding one meeting per month. Don,
I move to hold one meeting per month and sign warrants in the central office for non-board meeting weeks.
Second,
second, Tom. Discussion. Tom,
just wanted to point out, when you and I had that discussion on the phone about this, that this will be our policy from now on, unless the board member has something that they feel needs to come before the board or the superintendent or the administrator.
Absolutely.
That's just,
I just want to make sure everybody understands that, and that the public understands that we're not doing away with the meeting. You know, we're doing away with the meeting and we're going back to the way we used to do it.
we're following policy.
But if there is something that's brought up that we hold a special meeting.
see, that's
Yes.
the same discussion Warren and I had, that.
Yeah.
We were gonna make sure that there was business to conduct.
Yeah.
We-
And that's what you told me, but I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that the public knows that.
Anytime actually there's a warrant meeting, the only thing that is supposed to be brought up is just the warrants, period. Nothing else. So. We're actually just following the policy and making it easier on everybody. Kevin?
I'm a little leery of doing this, tell you the truth. Because there's sometimes that we have 2 big meetings a month. And. Are we gonna put us into a place where we're coming at 4:30 and leaving at 10:30? If it takes that long, it could take that long for certain things, especially when it comes budget time.
Yeah.
So I'm a little leery that if things are piling up. We need to have special meeting on that off week. It doesn't have to be that off week, it could be the 3rd week or whatever. But to let it all pile up and end up with. You know, hours and hours of discussion.
I think we could, I'm sorry, I think we could agree that we don't, nobody wants it to pile up. And we want to be able to do the business, and that's not at a warrant meeting. So that would be appropriate for us to call a special meeting to do the business that it needs to be done. And it sounds like from looking at your nods that nobody is not in agreement with coming to work when we need to have more time.
One other suggestion would be when it comes budget time, that we don't do it at our meetings. We have a special time to come in and talk about the budget, and that's what we're talking about.
Right, well, I guess I don't know this about your district yet, but you must have a budget committee workshop, so we would have a
Fine, yeah.
workshop, yes, yep.
And
Definitely.
you supply it all, but
Food,
Yeah,
I
that's
could
right.
do-
Where are the cookies tonight?
let me see, they. Oh, I can't say anything about the special one, can I?
I don't know what you're talking about. But no, that's a valid point, and I think that, you know, this is so that we can make sure and do business in an appropriate amount of time, and we all want to do it at the right time, so, yeah. Agreed, nobody wants to be here till 10 o'clock,
So,
But Warren will always have the option to call a special meeting.
absolutely,
And then so if he anticipates that it's gonna be a 4-hour meeting,
yes.
that would be something I would think automatically do.
Yeah.
Warren.
And
But
Warren
you would
pops
do-
into the office and we, call or text or whatever, and he's pretty much aware of the things that are coming up on the agenda. So if he wants to call another meeting, he can.
That's the way I understood.
but I
Yeah.
believe that if it takes majority of the board, they can call a special meeting too, right?
yes,
Doesn't have to be.
Yeah,
No,
Correct.
right,
Too.
yeah.
as long as it's free present.
any more discussion on that? So, just so. I get this right in my mind, if. This passes. We don't have a meeting on the 21st, our next meeting will be January 17th.
Correct.
If the next.
If,
one-
if
That's.
Two, yes, correct.
Okay,
Yeah,
right,
it's a different.
any more questions from anybody? Seeing none, all in favor? 5-0. Kevin,
Yeah, so
okay,
they ain't come up. didn't they?
well, it came up very slow, I just want to make sure that,
Yeah,
you know.
Faster next time.
make-
Okay, a motion to have the regular board meeting held in January. On the 17th.
Mr. Chairman,
I move to hold a regular January 2023 meeting on January 17th. Instead of the January 3rd. To allow staff time to provide administrative reports after Christmas break.
second,
Sorry, Tom.
So the January 3rd is literally the day we come back for Christmas break. So it just seemed like this would get us better information and have a more robust meeting if we put it off 2 weeks.
I think while they're all celebrating the years that they could just scratch out something, can't you?
Well, you could consider that.
You just won't be legible.
You count on that one.
Right, right.
I'm getting some glares over here.
That makes.
Any discussion on that? Changing the meeting to the 17th? Seeing none, all in favor? 5-0. Happy faces?
send out reminders.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. We'll have to do that. Yeah.
Have to do what?
Send out reminders.
She'll send it out to come do the warrants anyway.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
So that's only the 3rd.
A motion to change the name of the alumni field?
Mr. Chairman. I move to change the name of Alumni Field to Art Greenlaw Alumni Field.
Second,
That should be Arthur Greenwood, right?
Arthur Greenlaw, yeah. Sorry, Arthur.
Do you want to
Sure.
explain?
Yeah, so Buildings and Grounds Committee met, and for our first official meeting and our first official business, we invited Louis to come and join us so that we could discuss the naming of this field. This was suggested or requested of us from the Alumni Association. Honestly, back a few weeks ago, and I still was glassy-eyed with who everybody is. But what they want to do is they want to honor a person who has been instrumental in your community for athletics. And so the committee discussed this request and were in favor of having it renamed. A couple of things that came up is that Alumni Fields felt a little bit generic, but Mr. Greenlaw seemed to have made quite an impression. 100% support of students in moving athletics forward.
So that's just what the football field was called, or just the alumni field?
Alumni Field.
I have a question. Warren.
Sure.
We did something with Don Dow to do with the field, didn't we? Back, we went out with his family and remember that?
We dedicated plaques.
Dedicated what softball field?
Yeah.
No?
No.
No, we dedicated a plaque. In fact, it's down in the gym, right?
Yes,
Yeah, the one that's in the gym, and that's more for his years of service.
That's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we did it on the football field, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we did.
And we gave it to his family. I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
Any other discussion? Tom?
Yeah, I have some. Not because of Arthur Greenlaw, yeah. He was a fantastic coach, did a fantastic job. Just when we start naming things like this, then we miss people. And for example, Kevin thought we had named something there. I will support this, but I'm just. I think you're walking a very narrow path when you do that, because. I mean, we've had some other. And I'm just gonna use the football as an example. We've had some other fantastic coaches here over the years.
And we'll have more.
And yes,
We'll have more.
so just,
You do have fields named as Nick's not here, is he? And I have it in the office on my phone, but he was telling me all the other fields that are named by people, for people. And there's actually just one field that doesn't have a proper name, and it's the softball field.
this is the Federico Field.
Yeah,
Can you remember I wrote this off, Louis?
Delahaney Field, the Federico
Yeah.
Field. Delahaney, softball is the only one not named, even I can't think of the hockey
Mark
complex.
Thibodeau.
Yeah, Thibodeau. I think all but
The
Girls
the
softball.
softball field.
Yeah. So I hear you, and actually, our committee discussed the fact that there's always opportunity in this, people. So it isn't that the committee wasn't insensitive to that, but yeah, we hear you.
No, I don't feel that at all. I just, those are just my convictions on this.
Yeah.
Make sure everybody
Yeah.
And I agree,
understands
and
mine.
that's my thoughts at first until I read the letter from the alumni.
I read the one. Yeah.
So that,
Yeah, I do too.
I think that'd be the difference, I think, for me anyways.
Perfect.
And you're right, there's so many deserving people.
And the Delahanty field, and Louis, correct me if I'm wrong, belongs to the town, correct?
Technically, they all belong.
Well, yeah, yeah, I know they're replacing the sign. Those
Yeah,
signs will be replaced.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all do, but, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
And you could
Just,
Sure.
Yeah.
Is the softball field be named in the future, or is it gonna stay?
if somebody brought a name forward, it would be just like that.
Because I thought Bob Wardy,
Oh, that'd be a good one.
because he was always at the games, always getting the balls, and the outfield, always, I mean, in the backfield, always.
Well, maybe the student representative needs to bring that forward.
Yeah, I just thought about it.
So you know what you could do when we have our next buildings and grounds, we could ask for you to come talk with us.
Yes,
Yeah.
that'd be a real great idea.
Yeah. Look what you got yourself in.
Good job.
Yeah,
Thank you for jumping-
exactly, it is a good job.
Thank you for
bringing
jumping
it
in
up.
that,
Yeah.
even if you didn't mean to.
And I thought,
You don't see their names also. We're addressing the right.
the hot dog machine.
Well, I think it's a student representative.
Uh-oh.
I think, is there a rule about a student representative coming to the first building grounds meeting, bringing cookies? I don't know.
Pizza.
Okay, I believe.
You shouldn't have said that.
Can I do?
All right.
Yeah, okay.
We got a motion and we got a second on changing the name of the alumni field to, is it gonna be? What is going to be the actual, is it gonna be the Arthur Greenlaw alumni field? That's gonna be the actual name of it?
Yes,
If it passes.
right.
Right, all in favor? 5-0. Notification of new hires?
There's a whole list on there.
I see a list, the accidentally camera got left off.
Do we have a,
Matthew Steer was hired as an ed tech 3 at Stern on 11/28/22, step 10, hourly rate of $18.60. Jessica Lucarelli was hired as an ed tech 1 at Granite on 12/5/22, step 1, hourly rate of $14.60.
Just the two. I never remember seeing that on the computer.
I saw.
Any questions?
yes, sir.
Okay,
So how many ed tech positions do we have open now?
0.
That's it, we're, well,
well, with that text, I know we
Yeah.
need special ed.
And speech.
well, no, we don't now, do we? Didn't we?
Did I speak?
Yeah.
in turn?
We are still down a special ed teacher
That's what I thought.
and
The one where Jolene Maynard came over here.
Okay,
Her position is
okay.
still open.
I'm sorry, I thought that one had been filled.
And then-
Speech.
We're integrating that.
No, I apologize. I thought that one had been filled as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. So ed techs,
We're good.
we're at full right now, right now,
Today.
today, yeah,
Right.
right, I understand. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, that was just notification of the new hires.
Yep.
Notification of increase in minimum wage.
So because minimum wage is changing on January 1st. We talked with the union, I talked with the union and with Josh also. And we have a memorandum of agreement and it is going to affect 6 employees. So their wages will go up to meet the new minimum wage beginning January 1st. And then this is a negotiation year, so we will have to take that into consideration. And just for information, when Josh and I were first talking about this, I reached out to some superintendents that I'm familiar with in our area and said, so how are you handling this anyway? And nobody had an issue except us, and it affects 6 of our people. So I thought that was noteworthy, but it is all taken care of.
Well,
Question, through you to Josh. Are we good in budget wise? With that, do we have money in the budget to do that? We have to move money, or are we gonna be?
So actually, the people that are affected by this are enterprise employees, so main subsidized.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
I have
Josh.
a question too.
sure, Kevin.
By paying minimum wage, are we having trouble filling any job because it's just minimum wage?
Yes,
Are we not competitive and
This is the question,
yes,
you know, when you talk to what, 6 other schools.
4 school districts.
Yeah, you know, and if they didn't have a problem, that tells me they were all paying higher than we were. And I know it's pretty competitive to get substitute teachers in Millinocket.
Mhm.
I think it's something that we gotta look at eventually.
True.
That's, yeah. Whole
Not right at this
discussion,
point.
whole
I know.
discussion we've got to have before.
I know,
Negotiations.
Not right at this point, but I know it's something we gotta look at in the future.
Okay. Before we start.
Yeah, that's not.
Student representative reports, Sydney can't know.
So the senior class, we've been very busy with fundraising except for our class trip and end of the year things that we're gonna have going on. But along with that, we got our apparel in and I brought mine, so I can show you. This is the front design,
Oh, nice.
and then this is what the back looks like.
How many seniors?
Like,
30?
Yeah. Along with that, we had 2 fundraisers at the marathon over the weekend. We had a 50-50 raffle, and we also got the admission by donation, so that money all came to us, and we actually doubled. We had in our main ticket. So we are sitting very well financially, and we should only have to do one more fundraiser, and we'll be done.
Wow.
So great.
December, well done. That's great. That's great.
I'm gonna ask a question now, I guess it's a good time. I know Warren and I used to help with an auction. Is that something that one of the classes wants to, they don't want to do it again?
Doesn't seem that way.
Okay,
What is it like?
it's an auction, we get stuff and we auction it off, and the money goes to the, one of the classes, whoever wanted to do it. The only thing you would have to do is go out and ask for items, but we help do that too. But
I used
it's
to,
raised quite a bit of money at times,
I used to take the students around who needed,
community service.
community service, thank you. And I would drive them around to do that. I would take them to Lincoln, whatever, so make sure they got some time
around.
and get that community service by asking different establishments for things.
Do we ever have trouble, kids not getting their community service?
Yes, but I think it's because they don't really have the drive to do it, honestly, because it's 30 hours, but they have from freshman year to senior year, and there's a lot of things out there that they can do.
Nice to hear that answer. I think you're right.
But it was those type of students I used to try to help. So I didn't
Yeah.
want to see
Yeah.
anybody not graduate because of community service.
Right.
Any other questions of Sydney? Thank you, Sydney. Nice show. Grayson Sanders.
So, I had mock trial competitions this past Saturday. I competed with MVI. It went well, but we didn't go on the stage. We were a few points off. We were pretty close. We scored better than we did 2 Saturdays ago. And I had a really good time this year. And then this marathon, my class, we were selling our cookbooks and we were auctioning off a $400 gift card to Purple Whale. And they'll be pulled on December 12th. We didn't do that well, it was getting my class to do anything, was very difficult, but, we're doing pretty well with our fundraisers,
And what do you raise money for?
promise right now.
From?
Yeah, and we're starting getting some. recognition. So we have a theme to go and stuff, so probably now it's really, but
Any questions of Grace? Seeing none, administrative reports. Ms. Peavy?
Yes, well, I am holding Mr. Collins and Mrs. Rutherford's reports in my hand.
No,
No, I'm okay. I'd just like to, there's a couple of things in me that I think are important to be said
Yes.
publicly. So with Mr. Collins, basketball season has started, so that's going right along with both high school and middle school. But at the All-State Field Hockey Banquet, that happened on December 4th, Sydney Campbell represented Stearns High School for her great goalie play. And so she had an 81% success rate in all of her years of being a goalie, which is phenomenal. So congratulations, Sydney. The LTC football banquet also happened on the 4th, and Stearns sent 8 players who received first and second team honors. And in addition to that, Aiden Sanders was the recipient of the Silver Nail Scholarship worth $7,500. So that's amazing. And the athletic boosters in Gersa's Auto Body are joining forces to purchase a new scoreboard for the softball field.
Wow.
hooray.
Great.
Yay! Greatly needed. As if anyone's been down to see a softball game in the past few years, it's really been needed. So
You want to bring
that's
that
great
thing sooner.
news.
So we should say too that Mr. Collins is actually doing duties with basketball tonight. That's why
Yes.
he's not.
So at Granite Street with Mrs. Rutherford's report. I just wanted to touch on a couple of things. I think it's important to note that the students, as they visit the library, they're making Christmas cards to be distributed to the area nursing homes and assisted living places. And they're really enjoying that, and I'm sure that the people who are the recipients of those cards are going to love that too.
I think that's a great thing to do.
It is, it really is. The computer class at Granite Street, they're doing a new program called Keyboarding Without Peers. And Taylor Zoolander is running those computer classes. It's going very well, so it's teaching students how to actually type properly, which isn't done so much anymore, so it'll be very helpful for these kids as they go up through to high school and later on in life. Another thing that I thought it was important to note is that students in grades 3 and 4 used a portfolio to showcase their work to share with their parents during the student-led conferences. So during the parent-teacher conferences, some of the grades chose to do the student-led conferences, and those were very successful. And finally, the wreath lighting at Granite was held on Friday, December 2nd. Mr. McEwen led the students in a couple of Christmas songs, and then there was a countdown for lighting the wreath. So here at Stearns, couple of things to touch on is that the peer counselors sponsored a food drive for the Stearns Food Pantry. And they collected 117 non-perishable food items. The karate class have all now tested to the level of yellow belt. And so now they'll be working towards their first level of their orange belts. Alignment of standards and mapping are being worked on during professional development days, along with CPR and various special education trainings. We had a lot of groups that worked on fundraising in the marathon, as you heard some from Sydney and Grayson. And the school nurse reports that 100% of our students meet the state of Maine requirements for vaccinations. They're currently working on their vision, hearing, height and weight screenings for pre-K. In grades 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9 for state requirements. We've also seen an increase in illnesses as we do every fall. So we're asking that you please keep your students home if they have a fever, heart, cold symptoms, nausea, or vomiting. We continue to offer the COVID-19 rapid tests to symptomatic staff and students. And then some boosters updates that I thought were important is that boosters are looking for volunteers for the basketball concessions. And you can sign up at signup.com, and that's shared on our Stearns junior, senior, high school, and also the athletic boosters Facebook pages. They are in constant need of volunteers during basketball season. We have a lot of home games, so the more people we can get to help out, the better. Even if someone can only sign up for one game to help out, it really does help boosters. Boosters donated a treadmill and an elliptical machine they purchased, and they are going to put into the weight room at Stearns to help student athletes have an opportunity to stay fit. And they are moving, we are all moving forward with the Alumni Association for a new Stearns High School digital sign. The alumni has been given the Pagano Trust, which was specified to go to high school to benefit the arts, athletics, and academics. So we did a lot of brainstorming. We've had a lot of meetings with the Alumni Association, and we believe that having one of those big digital signs out front will kind of benefit everyone, because we can put a lot of information out for the community on that sign. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Who are they going to for the sign?
I believe it's Northern Sign. We went through a number of companies for quotes, and I believe that they came in with the best.
Kevin?
How big a deal if we do name that, should we, if we're thinking about naming that field for something, would it be smart to do it before we have a sign made?
That
That
sign,
Oh,
For the high school.
this is going, that sign's going out in front of the school.
okay. Right. But I saw the thing about, they were doing a softball field, they were doing a scoreboard.
Mhm.
Will it have a name? It wouldn't have the name of the field on it?
No,
Might be
I,
something
We can add
different.
that after.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
and Tom, I also wanted to add too, you asked about the ed techs. There is one title position.
One title. Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
and we are working on that as well.
That's at the high school. That's at elementary. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Ms. Beebe? Thank you for being 3 people. That was pretty cool.
Of course, no problem.
Cody, I don't see him on. So. Louis?
November's a busy month of transition for us, a lot of events going on in school and into the 1st of December. With football and the playoffs, making that pushed us into November, which is always great. Always adds to the excitement with football. We have fall musical, we've been voting in the gym, Veterans Day program. And in all of that, we have to fit in finishing the gym floor, which is a pretty big undertaking. It involves pretty much a week. As I said in my report, we're still one of the few schools left. We're one of the only schools left, I should say, that actually still does this work. Every few years, I go out and get a quote just for fun to see what it would cost, and it always shocks me. We used to involve a crew of 6 to 8 people to do the gym floor. It used to be done in the summer when we had a big crew. We used to have a crew of 6 people just varnishing, and we would rotate 4 in, 2 out. It was quite a process, but as things have improved over the years, we have a better system that we use now, a new system that 3M developed, and it allows pretty much Mr. Sear and I to do the, Mr. McGinnis, or 2 Ronnies. Not Ronnie McGinnis and I basically do it. Takes the better part of 2 days to sand the floor down and get it ready to recoat. It definitely shows when we do it ourselves, the quality and level of quality control. I've been to many other gyms, and I have all through basketball season, you have people say, who does your floor? And I'm always proud to say we do. You know, most contracted jobs don't clean it to the level we do. They don't sand it to the level we do. And the floor continually gets dirtier and darker. And that leads to a sanding of the floor, which is in the $50,000-$60,000 range. So, you know, people think varnishing the floor is just putting a shiny coat of varnish on it, and it's just for looks. You're protecting a $250,000 investment, and you're putting that slip resistance factor back onto the floor, which is huge for injury and sports injuries. So proud to say we got that done and accomplished, and onward and upward from there. Have any other questions?
No,
They have a
you do the
comment.
painting, you do the painting yourself, right?
Actually, we're one of the few that still do the painting. When we had the floor laid back 16 years ago, obviously that was part of the contract, was to hire the initial lines put down. But we have repainted the lines several times. Then we made that observation this year that we're gonna have to do some painting next year. That adds another week to the process. Yeah, we've repainted the lines probably 3 times on this floor since it was put down. That's a tedious job.
What about the Minuteman itself?
Yeah, we do all of that.
Yeah,
Really?
Yep. Yep, and it's a solid week on your hands and knees on the gym floor. It's
I just wanted,
I do, yeah.
I guess this is an appropriate time to do it. I wanted to comment, Louis. My wife and I went to the craft fair during the marathon, and all the people into the gym and all the people into the school. And I was very proud of what a nice job your staff does with the school, and how well it looks and how clean it is. And just to say to them that it made me very proud as an alumni that we have such a nice school, and they deserve a pat on the back.
I'll let them know that as well. Yeah, it's nice when they come back and they kind of see the same. It's still the same as when they were here.
Yeah.
It's always nice to give people that experience.
You know, my question, Louis, is this weather gonna help us with our budget a lot?
It's helped. It definitely helped. You know, we could get slammed down the road, so you never know, but yeah, certainly right now it's helped with fuel.
I see when you signed the warrants, that big number.
Yeah, but nature of the beast, we're still doing pretty good. You know, at this point, Mother Nature's been good.
Any other questions of Louis? Seeing none. Mia Charette, I was warned by her husband that she might not make it tonight. We all have a report. Is anything anybody wants to say in her report or anything?
I would add on to it for her, because yes, we did at the last minute realize that she wasn't gonna be in attendance. But Mia did have a food service review this week with David Hartley from the department. Mia is a real trooper. She's new, and there's a lot to this program. And I knew David Hartley because I worked next door to him for a long time. So he and I were kind of joking around. She was like sweating bullets. But she's right. It's black or it's white. It's right or it's not. That's David, because it has to be. He runs sanitation, serve safe, food and nutrition. Like, that's his job. It has to be black and white. So that said, she did a very good job. She had answers for things, she has procedures for things. There were some things that we need to do, a little bit of like comparative shopping, which we sat and laughed about because where do you comparative shop in Millinocket, right? Like you don't get Cisco and Dennis to deliver, you don't have milk deliveries, like that's just a problem in rural schools, you know, something I've experienced forever and they understand that, but they still ask you to do it. So we've got things like that. Her staffing was a little bit short, so it was tough. And I just want to compliment her, even though she's not here, but she did a really good job.
Any questions of Dr. Lane? Okay, seeing none, I actually found somebody who actually gets more nervous than I do at these meetings.
Yeah.
Or shall we?
Do I have to stand?
Yes, whatever you want to do.
No one else.
Okay, so I'm happy to report we have 2 international students here at Stearns High School this year. We have a young lady from Italy and we have a gentleman from France. And they absolutely love it here at Stearns High School. They say the teachers are so kind and the students are just amazing. They're really enjoying it here. When I asked them what they thought of Millinocket, they hesitated, they both hesitated. They said, your town is tiny, but you have snow. So they're very happy about the snow. Well, we had snow. But they're very excited to see snow. So that's good. The dual diploma program in China is in full swing. We have 93 students enrolled. And 12 students will be graduating in the spring with a Stearns diploma. So that's going very well. To date, we have received $59,760.86 in tuition. So that's great.
Will you say that number again?
$59,760.86.
Thank you.
Recently, I met with the University of Maine's International Admissions Director. And Stearns High School has had a long-standing agreement that any international student who graduates from Stearns, either here in Millinocket or with our dual diploma program, as long as their GPA is 3.0 or higher, and they enroll at UMaine, UMaine will give them a $12,000 a year scholarship for 4 years. So I recently met with the director and they increased that to $20,000 a year for 4 years. So I thought that was great. So to talk a little bit about the future of the program, we recently signed a contract with an agency, ASSE International, and this would be for the 23-24 school year. And they represent students from European countries such as Italy and Germany and Spain. And they will be contacting us early spring with students who are interested in coming here to Stearns. We've worked with ASSE in the past. They're a great agency. Typically, they have 10 to 15 students who are interested in coming. So we can look forward to that in the spring. We are currently looking for host families. So if you would like to host, you can contact me here at Stearns High School at mcgreevy@millinocketschools.org, or you can call me 447-6570. You can have your choice of if you would like to host a student for 1 semester, which would be August to January, or a student for the full academic year. So because of housing has been a little bit of an issue for the program, we are now working with the town of Millinocket to find solutions to improve and expand the program. Hopefully next board meeting, I'll have more information for you on that. And lastly, we are hoping to have an international summer camp for the summer of 23. There's a lot of pieces that need to come together for that, such as lodging and staffing, food, activities, busing, but we're working on that right now. So hopefully I'll have more information at the next board meeting.
Any questions, Kevin?
The summer camp, the buildings that we got from Region 3. Was that gonna be the plan that we were gonna be able to house them there? No,
Not necessarily, no,
No.
that really wasn't the plan of those buildings, no.
you know,
I
so
mean,
it could be a
it was
possibility.
thought of a possibility if we
Okay,
used on this classroom space or
And my second question would be that we have two, if we had host sites, families, would we be able to have more than two? I think you said there were so many that wanted to come, right?
Can
Is it-
family host more than two?
No, would we have more than two if we had more families that had stepped up?
Yes, yes.
We had an international summer camp several years ago, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Probably.
So I'm gonna ask the $1,000,000 question to this whole international program. We don't have to go to China anymore. Wherever we were going for
Correct.
every twice a year.
Yeah, because of COVID, it's made international
Thanks.
travel to China extremely difficult. So they have waived that,
Okay,
yes.
so
That
it
really,
doesn't bother our dual diploma.
no, doesn't bother it.
Okay, thank you.
And that was a result of COVID, you think?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
So were we able to sign up in the other schools that we had? Back when Josh was here and you guys were working on that,
Yes.
didn't that, some of those went through?
Yes, all of the schools that we have contracts with in China, they have enrolled students. I have great communication with them, they're paying tuition. It's wonderful.
Great, thank you, good to hear. Any other questions of Michelle?
Thank you, Michelle. Good
Thank
job.
you. Julie, I know you're sick. You're not feeling good. You don't have to read that report if you don't want to.
Hey, I gotta show that I can show up even when I'm ill.
Okay,
We appreciate that.
thank you.
Yes.
If you want.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do the highlights. But first I want to say that it's been a pleasure to work with the district in my current role. It's been fast-paced, challenging and busy. So far this year, as of the end of November, we have had 73 meetings. That is IEP and 504 meetings. As our child count, as of October, we had 106 students with IEPs. That does not include our 504 students because 504s don't come underneath special ed. Because a general ed student can have a 504 as well. So we've had some students come into the district and we've had students leave. We have more coming in, seems like every week. So far, we are contracting out for services for our cognitive testing and psychological testing. That goes out to Scott Misler. We have 2 part-time outside OT therapists. We have Earl Memorial and Amy Scherer. They're both through Dennis Mullins service. We still have a need for a full-time OT position, which is still open. We have Dottie Friel, who is doing part-time speech for us, and we now have her name, I just found out in an email today. Her name is Brittany. She goes by Britt. She is going to be our teletherapist that we have contracted out to handle the other needs of our speech and language kiddos. We have still a full-time speech pathologist or speech and language therapist position open, which I'm still actively working on to see if we can get that filled. The classroom that was mine is still open. That is being kind of covered between Miss Potvin and Miss Laporte, along with the 4 ed techs. They're working as a team, and I also consult with them. Our life skills kind of got covered through a PLC meeting with my junior high and senior high special ed staff. So Jen Jondro has stepped up to be the life skills teacher for the rest of the year. And Randy Lee Bishop will now take the caseloads of grades 9-12. And Katie Levitt will now do grades 6-8. And then we will reevaluate as the year comes to a close if we need to still have another position based on caseload if Jen wants to stay in that position. So, but at least for this year, we have things going in the right direction. I attended the MASDAQ 2-day conference in Portland in November. It was very informing and helpful. I met with state officials going over our grants, local entitlement funding, CDS contacts. And I also attended a conference on the EUTs because we have a lot of students that come to us from the unorganized territory. And that is funded differently and looks different depending on K-8 and then depending on high school. So I learned quite a few things there. And I also got to talk to some vendors. One was the Adori program that we use for our 504s and IEPs. And the other one was Linda Mode Bell. So I was able to tie up some loose ends there. I have joined a group for any new assistant directors or directors less than 5 years through MASDAQ. And we have monthly meetings, and we actually now have phone a friend list of people across the state that we can reach out to that have specialties in different areas, which is very helpful. And Dr. Lane and myself are also part of CAD, which is the Katahdin Area Directors that we meet once a month. And I'm also part of RAB, which is the Bangor Area Directors. So it gives me another group of resources from districts that have larger student populations that might give me some information on things that I may not see all the time being from a small district. We had our state review training on November 30th. We did our special ed review last year. We received our report back. We had several areas that we were 100% compliant in, which they praised us because it's very difficult to get 100% with the state. A lot of times, if there's one little minor thing, it's either 0% or 100% with them based on their requirements from the federal government. So we received that training, and now we're working on making those corrections, submitting them, and getting that wrapped up by the end of October. We've hired people to cover our special ed population. The state average is 15%. We're running between 25 and 30%. So we are definitely above the average, which is why we have the need for as many ed techs that we have had to hire. I'm also working on my special ed director certification. I just completed a class and I'm signed up for 3 more this spring. And hopefully by the end of December, if all goes well, I will have my master's in special ed and I will have all the requirements for my endorsement. And I just want to thank all my staff and all my ed techs for working diligently and working together to try to work on the issues that we've had, as well as the classroom teachers, because I know it hasn't always been easy, but we're moving forward and not looking back. Any questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody got any questions of Jolene? Seeing none. Thank you, Jolene.
You're welcome.
Josh Deacon.
All right. So in addition to adjusting upcoming salaries for the wage increase in January, I will also be initiating a rewrite of the ESSER 3 grant. I've reached out to Monique Sullivan, the coordinator of the grant, to open up the grant for me so we can reallocate some of those funds to other areas. I've been hosting monthly stakeholder meetings to get that grant in order. Once the rewrite is in, it will take 2 to 3 weeks for them to vet the rewrite. During that time, I won't be able to invoice, unfortunately. but once it's done, should be done. The FY 23 local entitlement and Title I applications have been submitted and are currently under review. Our audit is still underway. I've been working directly with Ron Smith to answer any sort of inquiries he may have. We're hoping for financial statements by the end of the week. Optimistically, he has assured us a complete draft by the end of December. Initial FY 24 budget meetings, we've already started to talk about. The worksheets will be sent out via email by the end of the week. And we have a timeline in place with workshops taking place in January and February. Our FY 23 budget and first quarter financials have been reviewed and accepted by the DOE, so that's good news. In terms of actual numbers, so far we have received $1.288 million out of our $7.1 million projected revenue. Out of our budget, we have expended just a few $1,000s shy of 2.6 million. In terms of percentages, we have expended 34.2% of our budget. We are almost at the halfway point of FY 23. So I view that as very good. We still have over half of the budget available. Any questions?
Yeah, I got a real quick one.
Sure.
The 1.288 is the revenue we've seen. That doesn't cover 2.6 million, so is there a shortfall? Is it?
Okay, so. With the revenue of the budget, we have that money that the town allots to us. I can move that over at any time.
Okay,
I usually do at the end of the year. So there's no shortfall. It's just
okay.
the way things play out.
I have not seen a printout of the budget report to the board. Do we not get those anymore?
No, I'm happy to
Forward.
provide them. The reason that you haven't seen is because I had to build the budget report.
Okay.
Right,
And then
system.
we will get
Yeah,
quarterly or
Quarter we usually.
we used to get quarterly updates.
sure, I can email that out first thing in the morning.
And so where we were going. Thank you.
Any other questions of Josh?
Good job. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, Josh. Dr. Lane, Superintendent's report.
All right. So, as you've heard, on here, I put that there's all kinds of good stories and anecdotes that have all been, shared. And so now I'm gonna tell you some stuff that may not be quite as interesting. With the exception of Beauty and the Beast, and I think we mentioned that before, but I'm now hearing the kids practice for show choir. Again, I absolutely love my office where it is because I fling open the door a little bit and I'm like, it's great background music. So great program. We've already talked a little bit about the policy committees, have met, budget and finance, not budget and finance, buildings and grounds met. The policy work, some of the things that we reviewed were as dated back as far as like 1978. So clearly there is some work to do. And again, we've already talked about the fact that it's they did a lot of work. And grounds and facilities in that meeting. I didn't know it because I don't have history here, but Louis was saying that there hasn't been regular meetings for quite a long time. And I know that in other short conversations we've had, I know that there's some things identified that need some attention. So hopefully more regular meetings with this committee will allow us to start plotting our way that way. I'd like to thank Kyle Leathers and Sue Buzzle for working together to submit a MELMAC grant to support college and career prep curriculum. And also Mia Charette, who wrote the grant for the new refrigerator and actually received the grant. We're waiting, fingers crossed, about the MELMAC grant. We've been having lots of weekly meetings with principals, SPED folks, district admin team, and all of those things in an effort to brainstorm, develop, implement, and plan for our system. We're working towards things like looking at our overarching policies, but then the next level down, making sure that those policies are reflected in handbooks and procedures in our school. looking at things like code of conduct to make sure that those line up and that are easy to access and standards for all students all across the board. Also met with Josh with Ron Smith, somebody that I'd worked with before, so I think again, it's kind of like we have a little bit of humor and Josh is like, let's just get this done. But Josh is doing a good job communicating with Ron. And as he already said, we're somewhat guaranteed a first draft by December, so that's good. Josh and I are also meeting, have met with and will be meeting, doing a presentation with the town council. That's this Thursday. At 5:30. Josh is gonna give some financial report and I'm gonna do some anecdotal things. My thinking is he'll tell about the money and I'm gonna tell where the money's going. Because I think all too often it's easy to just look at bottom lines and expenditures and whatnot, but there's a purpose to all of them. So we're gonna share information there. And then we're gonna having quarterly meetings with the town treasurer and town manager. We had one already, and then, so the next one will be here at school, at this school in April. I already told you about the exit meeting with David Hartley and the great job that Mia was doing. Jolene already told you about the SPED training for the corrective action plan. And I, in listening to what she had to say and what the presenters had to say at the training, she's absolutely right. They did compliment Granite and Stearns for the scores that they got. It is difficult to get hundreds, and they got hundreds in a number of places, and a couple of places where they didn't get hundreds, and it's part of the corrective action plan. There are things like a date or a name or something that a goal that maybe wasn't broken down enough. So there are things that are definitely correctable, and I think everybody on the SPED team understands, you know, what is needed for that. The next district announcement will go out tomorrow. And I'm going to use a lot of these things, and basically the point of that is to communicate with our community and to make them aware of the wonderful things that are going on here. And now, now that we won't have another meeting before Christmas, I want to welcome everybody to our meetings and make sure you come in and visit our school and enjoy your time off at Christmas. Questions?
Just two comments.
Sure.
One is, I know I spoke to you last week about a 5-year strategic plan.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see that's in here. I think we have to be really, not reactive to everything, but a little bit proactive.
Yeah,
I mean, we have to do that with our budgets and everything.
absolutely.
And the other thing I really liked in your report was to see that you're meeting with the town council.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really important that we keep a close and a friendly relationship with the town council. I'm proud to see that.
Yeah, we'll do our best on Thursday.
Oh, you do great.
Any other questions? Seeing none. Before we go into executive session, I want to wish everybody a happy holiday. Enjoy your vacation and be safe. When we go into executive session and we come back out, Brian, there will be a motion. So anybody who wants to go into the waiting room will be placed in the waiting room until the end of that executive session. Did that make sense? Okay, a motion to go into executive session, please.
Mr. Chairman,
Tom,
make a motion to enter executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 405(6) D, evaluation of the superintendent.
Second.
got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion about going in? Seeing none, all in favor? 5-0. Thank you everybody for coming. Is anybody going to be staying for the outcome? You are. I will make sure I come down to the lounge to get you. Or anybody else who's okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Happy holidays.
You too.
We're recording.
Attaboy. Finally got an IT guy here. You know, took that so you can spell it.
If you would let him know, though, he can let me know next week what will be.
I will, yeah. He's been on 2 days. He's a
Cause that's a.
planning on his.
Good stuff there.
Yeah, I agree, it's a missed opportunity.
I've had a day.
Are we all set on Zoom?
Yep, we're all set.
Can you hear us okay, Julian?
You're muted,
Okay,
Julie.
thank you. All right,
I'd like to make a motion to offer Dr. Shelley Lane a 2-year extension to her contract with, at a salary that will be determined through negotiations with benefits as negotiated,
With an option.
with an additional 1-year
Oh,
option.
I'll second that.
you can write.
I can get this.
Yeah, you can write it.
Dude.
okay. We got a motion by Tom. A second by Don. Is there any more discussion on this? Just to be clear, it's a 2-year contract with an option for another year.
2-year extension.
So it's gonna end up being a 3-year with a
Contract.
3-year with a
Would be
1-year option.
Almost a 3-year with a 1-year option.
Okay.
Cause he's finishing this year up, she's on her original contract.
Any discussion on that now? All in favor? 5-0.
You want, would you? We've only got 2 people. Would you explain why we're doing that now, why we are extending her contract now?
Oh,
That is,
because of the DOE, we have to have all this in by the end of December. To
State
meet,
law,
to meet the state law, state criteria,
Title 20.
so,
And we're gonna say
I just wanted the
section
public to be
10
aware.
okay, good job, Tom. All right, seeing no other business. Motion to adjourn,
No, let me stay the rest of the night.
I will do a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Second,
Second. Don,
We're gonna have discussion then?
he seconded for discussion.
all in favor?
Oh, you know, voting on this here.
Thanks, everybody, have a happy holiday. Good. You're better, Jolene.
Thank you, Shelley.
Board meeting can't be fun.
No, you know, the only thing that'd be more fun if we've been building down the church.
Well, yeah.
I found something.
Even cheaper.